Hello and welcome to Bronco TV. I'm Maddie Williams along with Linnea Henschel. In today's episode, we will look at the French students' trip to France. We will also hear from our teachers who are retiring. Today we will interview 3 educators who have given their knowledge and wisdom to the students and community of Bronxville: Miss Aarabi, Miss Mopin, and Dr. Dulio.
Des yeux qui font baisser les miens, un rire qui se perd sur sa bouche. Voilà le portrait sans retouche de l'homme auquel j'appartiens. Quand il me prend dans ses bras, qu'il me parle tout bas, je vois la vie en rose. Il me dit des mots d'amour, des mots de tous les jours, mais moi, ça fait quelque chose. Il est entré dans mon cœur une grande part de bonheur dont je connais la cause. C'est lui pour moi, moi pour lui dans la vie. Il me l'a dit, me l'a juré pour la vie. Et dès que je l'aperçois, alors je sens moi mon cœur qui bat. Des nuits d'amour à plus finir, un grand bonheur qui prend sa place. Des ennuis, des chagrins s'effacent. Heureux, heureux à en mourir. Quand il me prend dans ses bras, il me parle tout bas, je vois la vie en rose. Il me dit des mots d'amour, des mots de tous les jours, et ça me fait quelque chose. Il est entré dans mon cœur une part de bonheur dont je connais la cause. C'est lui pour moi, moi pour lui dans la vie.
I'm here with Emma and Jack, and we are interviewing Miss Aarabi. So what inspired you to become an English teacher?
Oh, for English, I always had great teachers that really were so creative, and they could do the analysis, but they could also do the writing so well. So I just, when I was in their rooms, I just always felt really comfortable and really happy in those rooms. But the real answer is that my mom was a teacher. She was a guidance counselor and also working towards administration. And then my grandmother was a teacher. So I sort of grew up with that model, and I always felt like, yeah.
How many years have you worked at Bronxville High School?
So I've been teaching for 34, and 27 have been here in Bronxville. I did 4 years in private school. I went back to Ursuline and taught there for 2 years, which was amazing. And my first 2 years I taught at St. Gabriel's in 7th and 8th grade, and this was me on my first year, before and after. And I found something when I was kind of cleaning out my room, but when I must have been asked in 1st grade about what I wanted to do, and I wrote, this cracks me up. It says, I think writing is the hardest. So imagine that. I don't know if writing English, writing, and here I am teaching it, or was it handwriting, I'm not sure. And then it says, when I grow up, I would like to be a teacher. All about me.
You got what you wanted. Yeah.
What do you miss most about being a teacher?
All of you. I really have enjoyed our conversations and just walking uptown, and this community has been amazing. It's been a second family. So I think that I know I'm going to miss all these connections and just getting to know you each and pushing you and finding what you can and can't do and watching you all grow. I'm so proud. When I first got to Bronxville, there was no C Wing. There were 67 students in the senior graduating class.
Wow.
We used to go on overnight leadership retreats with the students and take them away on weekends. And There was also SFL was the whole school. We would stop and meet in the auditorium and have a big meeting together and talk about quality of life issues. We led each other through changes in a really exciting, invigorating way. So,
What are some of your favorite memories and how have they impacted you?
well, if I just think about all the high points in Bronxville, they range from taking students to obviously Nicaragua and the Dominican Republic. That's been just such a wonderful joy to go change lives. And anytime I open my door and I see the mural that's outside, there's over 300 names on that mural of students who have really chosen selflessly to go give up their time and go build homes for the more vulnerable. And for facts, we've built 60 houses in both the Nicaragua area and DR, taken 300 students, as I mentioned, and have lived and helped to mold 8 different communities over that span since 2005. But I also should give a shout out to Jim Agnello, because when I was pregnant in 2007, I couldn't do the work. And so that's been also a neat memory to find a like-minded soul, dig in, roll up our sleeves, and work together on a common goal and just share that with the community.
What is the worst career advice you ever received?
Everybody tells newbie teachers, don't smile on the first day, and I never can do that. I'm like, welcome, I'm so happy to see you, we're gonna have a great year. So that's probably the worst advice I've ever received.
What's the best career advice you've ever received?
Oh, there's so much. My first principal said, always be a person. So on Fridays, he would stop by and say, what are you doing for yourself this weekend? And on Mondays, he would say, what movies did you see? What did you do for yourself? Because teaching can be really time consuming, and you can really, I think, want to give so much that you sort of lose yourself in the year, and then you take the 2 months in summer to reboot yourselves back to who you are. So I thought that was really helpful advice. And then you're more real in the classroom if you can make a bad joke, which you know I can do a lot of, and then you know the references that your students are immersed in themselves. I walked into town and there's just so many nice people to say hi and slow down with, and some of my students now are here with their kids. So I think just watching the community grow and how much the community gives to its teachers as far as support. And I know that it's such an intellectual community, really cares about education. And if I say, I need some volunteer here, or I need some of you to come and help mentor the speech and debate, I never get a no when I send out emails to this community. And I've been so grateful for that.
What will you do next in your career?
I know, I'm telling people, I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but it's definitely a rehiring, not a retiring. I would love to write, Jack, and I would love to be around my family a little more, because I get stuck on 95 traffic a lot lately. But I do have a lot of ideas for AI or mentoring, how to speak in public situations, or also maybe teaching teachers. So I still have a lot of ideas to go for and hear how well they're doing. Exactly, but it's going to be hard to leave, I think. It's you know, what is it? You put your life into a situation, and when you teach from your heart. But I think I would add, don't be afraid to go into teaching. I know sometimes we're drawn to the dollar sign, but when your students come back and stay in touch, many of them have gone on to become teachers. It's such a noble profession, and no day is the same. Yeah. And you never know the impact you're going to make, and it's for life. So I would just encourage people to consider the profession. It really, you know, it really works.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. Best of luck to you. Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Reed, and I'm here with Miss Mopin, one of our teachers who's retiring this year. We have a few questions for you.
Okay.
Okay. So how many years have you worked at Bronxville High School?
This is my 21st year.
Wow. And how has the school changed over the years?
Well, the schedule changed. That was the biggest change. When I first came here, the first and last periods were actually extra help. And then the sort of blocks in the middle were all academic periods. So that was probably the biggest change. Other than that, the students haven't changed much, and the faculty hasn't changed much.
Yeah. Since you're retiring, what will you miss about being a teacher?
What will I miss about being a teacher? My students, not much else. I won't miss grading tests. I won't miss getting up in the morning. I won't miss faculty meetings. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that.
Well, what are some of your favorite memories, and how have they impacted you?
My favorite memory of Bronxville is the summer I accompanied Mr. Agnello and a group of students to Tanzania for a service project. That was pretty awesome.
What is the worst career advice you've ever received?
The worst career advice I've ever received is actually the career advice I got when I decided to be a teacher. So I was a graduate student at an unnamed Ivy League institution that happens to be in New Haven, but we won't name it. And I was pretty miserable my first graduate year. And so I was actually sitting in the dining hall bemoaning my fate. And one of my, another student said, well, you could take a year off and be a teacher. And I'm like, but I'm not certified. And she said, doesn't matter in an independent school. And I thought, well, okay, that might be fun. I mean, I'd taught Sunday school before, and I'd done a lot of like camp counseling. So I went off to the Office of Teacher Preparation, and I walked in. I think this was April, and I said, oh, I was told I could probably get a job teaching an independent school and that you could help me. And the Mrs. McMullen, who was the head of teacher prep, said, it's a little late. She said, it's April. Most independent schools have hired by now. She said, what can you teach? I said, math, physics, chemistry, computer programming. She said, oh, no problem. So I had a job about 3 weeks later at an independent, I taught math in 7th through 9th grade at Greenwich Country Day. And I loved it. And to do that, I had to take a year off from Yale. And at sort of about 3/4 of the way through the year, I had to go back and talk to the director of graduate studies about coming back. And I went in to talk to Dr., I can't remember his name, Herpelsheimer, I think. But I said, you know, I'm thinking about not coming back. I really like teaching. And he said, I'm quoting, how could you do that? It would be such a waste of Yale's investment in you. And I'm like, what? Yale's investment in me? So, and I actually had a good comeback because I had tutored his children in algebra the year before. And so I sort of said, well, Dr. H, who would you rather have teaching your children math? Someone with Yale's investment, like me, or someone who's coming from a community college? And he sort of said, well, point taken, but you'll regret it. That was 43 years ago. And I have occasionally regretted not having my papers corrected on time. I've occasionally regretted having a student who's driving me nuts, but I have never regretted teaching, and I've never regretted that. I've never, ever regretted my decision. So that was both the worst and the best career advice I'd ever gotten.
So did this inspire you to become a math teacher?
Well, math was the first job I got, and I have actually taught physics because I eventually went back and got certification in Connecticut, but I'm certified in math and physics, and I have taught both, but I really like teaching math. The problem with being a physics teacher, apologies physics teachers, is that most of the time you just teach all physics all day, 5 sections, 4 sections in labs, and that's really boring. In math you get to teach a little algebra, a little geometry, a little pre-calculus, so it's a more varied program.
Mm-hmm. So what will you miss about Bronxville School and the community beyond teaching?
Well, I'll definitely miss Park Place bagels. I will, and in the spring, Bronxville is so pretty, you know, all the daffodils and all the flowering plants. I'll miss that. I'll definitely miss Genevieve, the crossing guard, as we come down Garden, I think. I'll miss her a lot. Mostly I'll just miss my students.
So what will you do next after you retire?
I have actually applied to Hunter College to do a second bachelor's degree in Japanese. And so I'm waiting to be accepted. I still haven't heard.
Do you hope to go to Japan?
Oh, that's already planned. My sister and I have been planning this for like years and years and years. So we are hiking in next spring during cherry blossom season. We're hiking the old Imperial Road from Kyoto to Tokyo. That's about 2 weeks. I'm like so excited about this. I'm so excited.
Sounds
I'll get
fun.
to use my Japanese.
Is there anything that you'd like to add that I haven't asked yet?
I don't think so. I mean, like, it probably won't surprise anybody that I'm going to be happy about not having to get up early in the morning anymore. But no, I mean, I've had a great 21 years at Bronxville, and I'll really miss my colleagues, especially the colleagues in the math department.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Mopin.
You're welcome.
Here, Mr. Dulio here with Dr. Dulio, who is retiring from the Bronxville School. I want to ask you just a few questions. One question we had, some students wrote this, is what inspired you to become a science teacher?
It's going to sound kind of stupid, but when I was a kid, I liked to dig holes. And I got interested in earth science that way.
Now, where would you dig these holes?
In my backyard in Connecticut. It was sandy, it was glacial, it turned out.
Did you ever find anything interesting?
No, but I was able to dig pretty deep because it was sandy.
I used to do the same thing.
And then I took geology when I was in college and at Barnard. At Barnard, and that was really good. And we went on a lot of field trips. I believe in field trips because they are fun. You remember those.
Oh,
more than
yes,
you
you do.
class.
What's a field trip you remember from college?
We went to Jones Beach and learned about the dark layers and the light layers, the winter and summer layers, and it was fun.
And how many years have you been here at Bronxville?
18,
and
I guess, or maybe 19.
And where were you before you came here?
Before here, I was in Ossining for 6 years, and before that, I was in the city, in the Bronx, for 6 years. And before that, I was not a teacher.
What did you do when you weren't a teacher?
I was mostly in graduate school. And then I did a bunch of different things. I wrote, I was like a science writer for a company, a chemical company, believe it or not. I helped write their reports. Did some editing for a while. Once I did radioactive waste. I helped write a report on radioactive waste disposal, sort of about, it was an environmental impact statement about where they were trying to do it. Anyway, just some technical writing, I guess you could say.
And now 18 years here, and how many years before that teaching?
12, so
12.
almost 30,
wow.
yeah.
Wow. What will you miss most about being a teacher?
Kids. The kids.
Yeah.
The kids are the best part. You know that.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
They keep you going.
Yeah. It's not the grading, I'll tell you that.
No. What's something you said has changed in your 18, 19 years here at Bronxville High School?
You know, people say the kids change, but in some ways they do, in some ways they don't.
Right.
I mean, phones are obviously more prevalent.
Right.
I don't understand how people can concentrate when they have that thing dinging all the time, or at least flashing.
Right.
But they seem to do okay, so. The other big change is AI.
Yeah.
That's a big change.
What do you think that will do in, say, 5 years? How will that? No, I know.
Terrified,
Yes.
actually.
They'll have AI teachers or something.
Yeah, maybe. But it's not that. It's more like, guys, think for yourselves.
Right, exactly.
You know?
What would you say are, like you're looking back, a favorite moment or two here?
Gosh. Field trips.
Yep.
Really. I remember many core field trips, taking them, especially the Central Park part, like looking at glacial striations and stuff like that. That was fun. First year I was here, I had a really fantastic bunch of sophomores who were taking AP Environmental because they could then, and showing them different things, stream table. The first time I did the lab outside counting grass, the infamous grass lab, which I call ecosystem sampling, but they all call grass lab, which is biodiversity.
Right.
And taking kids to the cemetery to do another lab in AP Environmental. So that was fun.
What would you say is the next step in your career? Because you're not done with your career, right? You're retiring, but...
I don't know. I don't think I'm going to have a full-time job again. That's not in my plan. I don't really have a plan. I want to just do something that allows me more freedom, especially to travel. You know,
where would you want to go?
Off-peak
off-peak.
time, not in the summer when millions of other people are traveling. Lots of places. I'd love to see the pyramids. I'd go back to Italy. Italy's one of my favorites. I've never been to Greece. I've never been to Spain. I've never been to India. India has sort of always been. And it'd be nice not to have to wake up at whatever time every day.
Yes, that would be very nice. Is there anything that I haven't asked you that you'd like to add as you are leaving the Bronxville schools?
Yeah, to say to folks, especially the students, you know, you really have a special school here. It is very, I mean, I have a limited range, but I was in 3 or 4 schools before I came here, and this is, I mean, it's changed. It's gotten less so over the years, a little more traditional, but I think in general, it's a really nice community. It's very, very supportive. Kids are very well trained, and they're very supported by their parents, and it's a fun place to teach. And I hope a fun place to learn.
Well, I want to thank you
Oh,
from Bronco TV and from the faculty.
well, thank you very much.
Your colleagues. You've been a great colleague.
Oh, thanks.
And wish you all the best.
Thank
and
you.
when you're traveling to India or Egypt, send us back pictures. We'll put them in the newspaper and on Bronco TV.
Okay, that's a deal.
Thank you, Doc. I got to call you Doc.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Art is my favorite subject. It is available to K to 12. We are working on sculptures that are inspired by the artist Keith Haring, and they are made with aluminum foil, which is then painted.
We're here at the art show and we're decorating a Bronco.
Variation of color. Do you have any more light flowers?
There's a bunch of high school kids doing it.
Sure, we're selling different products to support the arts, and we have t-shirts, sweatshirts, water bottles, totes, in case anybody wants to buy anything.
What do you think is going to be the biggest seller here?
I'm hoping it's the tie-dye sweatshirt because that's one of our newest items.
People also like crop tops.
So far,
Oh, a crop
really
This is
into
a
the
crop top, very on trend.
Wow.
We have retro black sweatshirts that are less expensive, so that's a good deal too.
Okay, so at the Arts Festival every year we try to add a sculpture for the kids to be part of and contribute to create their own piece of art for the Arts Festival. So the very first year we did the Bronxville Arts sign and the kids added stickers, and every year we hope to add an ornament to the front lawn, sort of like our mini Storm King. Last year we did Blue Ascension, which was basically representing K to 12, where we had the very smallest pieces, which are now on the second level, all the way through to grade 12, which are the higher pieces. And every night we moved it around and changed the format of it. And this year we're using it as a pretty backdrop for the concert that's going to come tonight.
In our next and last episode of the year, we will hear from Ms. Simpson and Mr. Klorfeld and honor our graduating seniors. Thanks for watching Bronco TV.
Yay!
Yes.
Yay!
Here comes